Imagine your life as a ship, powerful, built for great distances, but sitting still in the middle of a vast ocean, with no compass and no direction. That's what life feels like without self-confidence. It doesn't matter how much talent you carry inside you. If fear is the one making your decisions, and shyness is the one controlling your voice, you will never truly sail. So many people spend their entire lives standing at the edge of their own greatness, too afraid to speak up, too afraid to be wrong, too afraid to simply be seen. If any part of that feels familiar to you, stay with me, because the story you're about to hear might just change the way you see yourself forever. Welcome to Bright Tales, where every story carries a lesson worth living. In a lively city filled with the sounds of merchants and markets, there lived a humble man who worked hard every single day to provide for his family. He sold salt for a living, a simple trade, but an honest one. He had two sons. His younger son was bright-eyed and bold, never afraid to laugh loudly or speak his mind. But his elder son was a different story entirely. The boy was painfully shy, the kind of shy that wraps around your chest and makes every word feel like a mountain to climb. He rarely spoke. He kept to himself. And people, being people, often mistook his silence for stupidity. Neighbors took advantage of his gentle nature. Strangers dismissed him. And yet, through all of it, the boy never said a word of complaint. He carried his pain quietly, the way only truly sensitive people learn to do. But at home, things were no easier. His father, a man worn thin by worry and responsibility, saw his elder son's timidity not as sensitivity, but as weakness. He scolded him often and harshly. Every sharp word was like a crack in an already fragile wall. Over time, the boy began to believe what he was hearing, that he truly was less than, that he truly was not enough. As the years passed, his self-doubt began to quietly destroy everything around it. In school, fear would freeze him completely during exams. He knew the answers. They lived inside him. But the moment his pen touched paper, his mind would go blank, paralyzed by the terror of being wrong. His grades fell. His confidence crumbled further. And when he finally came of age, his father, frustrated and exhausted, pulled him out of school and brought him into the family business. It was meant to be a fresh start. Instead, it became another battlefield. His nerves made him clumsy. His anxiety made him stumble over simple conversations with customers. He fumbled orders, forgot details, and with every mistake, his father's disappointment grew louder. The boy desperately wanted to do well, but wanting and believing are two very different things, and he had stopped believing in himself a long time ago. Then came the day that broke everything open. His father had stepped out, leaving the boy alone to manage the shop. A group of smooth-talking men walked in, wearing confidence like a costume. "Your father sent us," they said calmly. "We're here to collect all the salt sacks for a city order." Something inside the boy stirred, a quiet warning. But doubt is louder than instinct when you've spent years being told you're foolish. Who was he to question these men? He said nothing. He watched. And before he could gather the courage to ask even a single question, they had loaded every last sack and disappeared into the street. That evening, when his father returned to a completely empty shop, the rage was unlike anything the boy had ever seen. "You worthless child," his father shouted, his voice shaking the walls. "You've destroyed everything I've worked for. Get out of my sight. Don't ever come back." The words landed like stones. The boy stood there for a moment, hollow, broken, humiliated, and then he turned and walked away. He walked until the city noise faded and the only sound left was the river. Standing at the water's edge, the weight of every failed moment, every harsh word, every disappointed look pressed down on him all at once. "There is no point," he thought. "I will always be this way. I will always fail. He stepped closer to the edge, and just as the darkness pulled hardest, a hand grabbed his arm and pulled him back. An old man stood behind him, eyes calm and steady, as if he had seen this kind of pain before. "Why did you stop me?" the boy demanded, tears burning his face. "My life means nothing. I can't do anything right. My own father gave up on me." The old man didn't flinch. He spoke quietly, but with the weight of absolute certainty. "Your life is not nothing. It is the only one you will ever have. Every failure you've known, every single one, can still be turned into something. But only if you stay. Only if you choose to keep going." The boy shook his head. "I'm shy. I'm weak. I never finished my education. People have laughed at me my whole life. Someone like me, do I even deserve a chance?" The old man looked at him for a long moment. Then he said simply, "Come with me." With nowhere else to go and nothing left to lose, the boy followed the old man's modest home. A quiet deal was made. "I have the answer you are looking for," the old man said. "But you must first complete 3 tasks, one each day for 3 days. If you do them honestly, I promise you, your life will change." The boy, with just the smallest flicker of hope alive in his chest, agreed. The first task: go out and speak with 10 strangers. Ask them about their lives. Write down what you learn. It sounded simple. It felt impossible. The boy stepped out into the street, heart hammering. The first few people ignored him. One was rude, but he kept going because he had promised he would. By the time evening arrived, not only had he spoken to 10 people, but 2 of them had become warm, unexpected conversations. He walked back to the old man's house with something strange and unfamiliar sitting in his chest. It took him a moment to recognize it. It was the feeling of having done something. The second task: teach 10 children why water is important. The boy nearly laughed. "I didn't even finish school. How can I teach anyone anything?" The old man smiled. "They don't know what you didn't finish. They only know what you share with them." So the boy stood before a group of curious children, a glass of water in his trembling hand, and he spoke. He shared 5 simple things he knew about water. His voice shook at first, then it steadied. The children listened. They asked questions. They listened to him. When it was over, he stood still for a moment, almost dizzy. The fear had been there, but he had spoken anyway, and the fear had gotten smaller. The third task: go home. Face your father. Apologize. This one, the boy refused. "He'll never forgive me. He told me never to come back." "Then I cannot give you my final lesson," the old man said gently. "This is the most important one." With every step toward home feeling heavier than the last, the boy went. He stood before his father. He looked him in the eyes, and he apologized, not out of defeat, but out of genuine humility and a new quiet resolve. His father saw something different in him, not the nervous, stumbling boy he'd known, but someone who had walked through fire and come back standing straight. He gave his son another chance. When the boy returned and told the old man what had happened, he asked for the final secret. "Tell me, what is the key to success?" The old man smiled slowly. "You already found it. These past 3 days, you found it yourself. Your greatest enemy was never your shyness. It was your fear. Shyness is just a habit. Fear is a choice. And so is courage. People will treat you the way you carry yourself. Walk like you belong. Speak like your words matter. Believe, even just a little, that you are capable, and the world will begin to reflect that belief back to you." The boy wept, not from sadness, but from something deeper, the quiet release of a burden he had carried far too long. Years passed. That once silent, overlooked boy became a businessman known throughout the city, not just for his sharp mind, but for the calm, unshakable confidence with which he moved through the world. People sought his counsel. They trusted his word. They admired the steadiness in him that had once seemed impossible. And it had all begun at a riverbank, in the darkest moment, when one person chose to stay. This story carries a truth worth holding on to. Self-confidence is not something you're born with. It is something you build, one small, scary, courageous step at a time. The world will see you exactly the way you choose to show up. So show up. Take the first step, even when your hands are shaking. Speak, even when your voice trembles. Because on the other side of that fear lives a version of you that you haven't met yet, and that version is extraordinary. If this story moved something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs. And don't forget to subscribe to Bright Tales for more stories that remind us what we're truly made of.